It's time for the Imperfect Love Part 2 dialogue. Woo. Welcome, magical people. Okay. It's quite interesting. Things are developing slowly, but surely. As usual, thanks below for all the advanced information. Makes it very much easier. Well, possible. So that's always very well appreciated. Links in the description for your dialogue ahead of time. Part 2 dialogue. Intro. Hermione. SOS Taskforce agents are reporting my surge has returned, but something's wrong. They're indicating it's become dark and oppressive, rife with vandals related to Voldemort and Bellatrix Lestrange. Essentially, the polar opposite of the direction I'd intended to take the surge in. Constance, as if it's become another surge altogether, eh? Say, Harry, do you think it's like when you wrenched control of November's surge, eh? But in reverse. Harry, I think that's exactly what's happening here, Constance. The Unforgivable must be trying to guide the Calamity back in their intended direction. Hermione, I agree. But if they wanted to control the Calamity, why wait until halfway through my surge to siege it? Why not preempt it like you did? Just remember, I haven't actually read this bit yet. Constance, perhaps we'll find some answers hidden inside this troubling surge. When you place an image, brilliant portrait of Voldemort. Harry, Constance, the memories fueling this surge, they're mine. Constance, you sure? Not to question your judgment, but we've been wrong about these things in the past. Harry, I'm positive. I feel the same as I do when new adversaries are summoned, like someone's flipping through an open book of my memories and ripping pages out, emotions and all. Constance, so the Unforgivable are able to snatch others' memories to create both adversaries and surges. Bloody hell. Seems every time we take one step forwards towards getting the Calamity under relative control, they take two. Harry, I wouldn't be surprised if they were responsible for the surge I thought I unknowingly started last month too. But what are they hoping to achieve, and why do they keep targeting me? Is it my history with Voldemort and his Death Eaters, my position, or something else entirely? What is in Harry's head that they want? Brilliant portrait of Bellatrix Lestrange. Constance, the more of the surge I experience, the more convinced I become that this must be related to adversaries. Letherfold did write in the letter we intercepted back in October that they were trying to bring them back. If them truly are the Death Eaters, this could be part of their plan. Hermione, that is the most reasonable conclusion to draw, isn't it? Still, I can't help but feel that more than anything, this surge was intended to make a mockery of mine. Granted, I may very feel this way because they interrupted me personally, but hear me out. I base my surge on my memory of Ron and I's early relationships, which, despite its admittedly rocky start, was built on genuine love. Theirs seems to be centered on Voldemort and Bellatrix's obsessive, self-serving relationship. It's as if they took my core construct of love and tainted it. Constance, I hope you're right. If not, it would likely mean the Unforgivable are actively trying to revive the darkness of Voldemort and Bellatrix, and, well, I don't really need to state how terrible that would be, do I? The Mos Mordre Dark Mark. Hermione. The Dark Mark was more than a symbol of allegiance to Voldemort and a way for him to communicate with his Death Eaters. It was a threat, a warning intended to inspire fear. Voldemort weaponized fear in his quest for power. He used violence to intimidate any who disagree with him into silence or submission. I wonder, could the Unforgivable be trying to do the same to us? Mass Breakout, Azkaban, Daily Prophet. Constance, while most Death Eaters denied their ties to Voldemort after his initial fall, Bellatrix Lestrange proudly proclaimed hers. She rotted in Azkaban for 15 years, apparently always believing Voldemort would return for her. I know Bellatrix was a horrible person, and her infatuation with Voldemort was likely extremely unhealthy, but is it odd that I admire her devotion? After all, I get antsy when Lucas is 30 minutes late for our dinner reservation. I can't imagine waiting for 15 years with only Dementors for company. Sword of Gryffindor replica. Harry. I've long believed that Voldemort was incapable of love. It seemed the best explanation for why my mother's sacrifice mystified him so much. But he clearly felt something for Bellatrix. You'd only look at how special he treated her to see that, and that's saying nothing of the fact he entrusted her not only with what he thought was real Sword of Gryffindor, but also one of his Horcruxes and child. Dumbledore once told me that Voldemort couldn't understand love, that he took no trouble to comprehend that which he did not value. So perhaps it's not that Voldemort was incapable of love, but that love was such a foreign concept to him that he dismissed it as unimportant. It's ironic, for all his attempts to obtain power, he failed to see a single greatest source of it, despite it being right in front of him. Mysterious note. First piece. Constance. Curious. There was a piece of note attached to that last fanable, though it's too fragmented to make anything out. Hermione, I had a hunch that the Unforgivable were trying to send us a message, but I didn't think it'd be quite so literal. Constance. Makes you wonder what it says, doesn't it? Hermione. We'd have to assemble the rest of the pieces before we can know for certain, but I suspect it's nothing good. What I thought was hilarious was the last one, the last mysterious note. I only had the word Harry on it, because it's from the Triwizard Tournament. Yet apparently they had to assemble the entire note to read the word Harry. So you would think they would be able to kind of infer it. But never mind. Fifth piece, Hermione. We haven't found enough pieces of the note to make most of its contents yet, but one thing is clear. The writer wanted you to read it. Harry, it's addressed specifically to you. Harry, considering how many memories of mine they've snatched and twisted into adversaries, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a thank you note. You think after more than 2 decades, I'll be a better occlumens. I wish I'd kept up with my lessons. Well, you can do it now, can't you? Hermione, there's more. I believe this was written by Lethifold. I can't be completely certain, as the note we intercepted from them was written in runic script, but upon comparison, the spacing, sharpness, and slope of the letters all seem to match. Harry. Certainly adds more credibility to our running theory that Lethifold and Bargheist are members of the Unforgivable, doesn't it? Now, if we could only find out who they are, we might finally get a tangible lead on the Cabal. So my running theory was that Lethifold was the one that turned tail on the Unforgivable and wanted to meet up with Harry and then got obliviated. Clearly that is not the case. Now, dang it, I have to rethink my theory. Final piece. Harry, we've managed to reassemble the entire note, and it's, well, to be frank, it's dreadful. The Unforgivable are advising that we ought to stop meddling with the Calamity. If we do, they promise to leave us be and forgive our past transgressions. Harry, and if we don't? Constance, they didn't make any specific threats, but they do say that we'll learn a valuable lesson about actions having consequences. The end dialogue. Hermione, we've managed to stamp out their surge, but the Unforgivable's threat remains. Harry, what are we going to do about their demand to stop interfering with the Calamity? Harry, I say we ignore their bravado and continue doing everything in our power to stop them from abusing the Calamity. The fact that they reached out to us directly means they're worried. They know we're getting closer to exposing their identities. I don't think you are any closer to exposing their identities. If we continue to press them, there's a good chance they'll become increasingly desperate, and in their desperation, get sloppy. Hermione. Or they'll be driven to take more extreme action to stop us. Let's not forget what they've proven themselves to be capable of. Cursebreakers were able to free Kit Gerard from the painting. Oh, jolly good. But the healers at St. Mungo's haven't been able to restore any of Kit's or the informant's memories. That was the informant I thought was Lethifold. It's not. Harry, don't worry, Hermione. If there's one thing this surge has made me realise, is that we've faced worse threats before and survived. I'm confident we'll do it again. So that's it for this one. Hopefully you like and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you are new. So we do all these things all the time, so where you can actually catch up with the dialogue before the event. Taskforce Times has a dialogue after the event has started, and so hopefully there's a whole bunch of stuff for you there. Also, if you prefer to read this all in text form, there's a link below to my source, and that is the best place to go for like spoiler content and things like that. So until next time, brush up on your pals, get your ones ready, Wizards Unite.